So that means two lines that never touch, or in math terms we would say intersect. So two lines that never intersect one another. So lines L and M over here are parallel. Arrows, so I know you guys have seen this symbol before, but you weren't quite sure what it meant. Arrows on lines indicate that they are parallel. So you can see right here these little arrows that are actually on the line. That's the symbol meaning that lines are parallel. So you might see little arrows drawn like that. That one looks weird, sorry. Or you might see little arrows drawn like this, indicating parallel. Either one of those is fine. So now I just did that there. So a line that intersects two or more lines is called a transversal. So I'll write that while you do. And this is our new big word for Unit 3, transversal. So a transversal is just a line that intersects two or more lines. So in this diagram over here to the left, L is parallel to M and the transversal is T. And as I was writing that, I realized I made a mistake above. This is symbol for parallel, which is actually just two parallel lines. That's the symbol that we use. This is a symbol for that lines are parallel. This is the symbol for parallel. So when I want to say that two lines are parallel, L is parallel to M, we would write it like that. And then transversal here is line T. So it's just the line that crosses two or more lines. Okay, so when we have this scenario where we have some parallel lines and a transversal, we create special types of angle pairs. So we're going to learn about 4 different types of angle pairs today. This is new words, but as we go through this, you can highlight, do it in color, however you would like to do it. You know, I'm going to trace the angles in color to help you keep it straight. Corresponding angles are in the same position on the parallel lines in relation to the transversal. These angles are always congruent. So using my little congruency symbol there. So let's find a pair of corresponding angles here. So they're in the exact same position on the transversal. So I'm going to do 2 corresponding angles and I'm going to trace them in blue. So angle 2 would be congruent to angle 6 because those are corresponding angles. I'm going to mark 2 more of these so you can see. So they're in the exact same position. So it's almost as if I could slide angle 6 up along the transversal. It would fit perfectly on angle 2. So another pair would be angle 4 and angle 8. So we could say angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. There we go. All right, so the next one. Alternate interior angles are inside the parallel lines, so they're going to be inside the lines, and opposite sides of the transversal. These are always congruent as well. So if we want to talk about those, angle 4 and angle 6, so angle 4 would be congruent to angle 6. Those are alternate interior. And then angle 3 here and angle 5 are also alternate interior. So we could say angle 3 is congruent to angle 5. And my yellow one has officially died. Okay. Alternate exterior angles are angles outside the parallel line. So on the outside. So think out here and out here, not on the inside. And opposite sides of the transversal. These angles are also always congruent. So that's easy enough to remember. So let's think about alternate exterior. So alternate means on opposite sides of the transversal. So angle 1 here and angle 7. So alternate exterior. So angle 1 would be congruent to angle 7. Another pair of those, angle 2 and angle 8 opposite sides of transversal outside of the parallel line. So angle 2 congruent to angle 8. Perfect. All right, last one. Consecutive interior angles. So consecutive interior angles. So what does consecutive mean? Well, notice we've said alternate. That meant on opposite sides of the transversal. Consecutive means on the same side of the transversal. So this transversal T here, 2, 3, 6, and 7 are all consecutive. They're on the same side of the transversal and inside the parallel line. So consecutive interior would mean only 3 and 6 would be consecutive interior. And if I went to the other side, only 4 and 5 would be consecutive interior. Now these are not congruent like the other 3 that we've learned. Excuse me, as you look at these, you can see that they don't even look like they're the same size, but sometimes they might look like they're pretty similar, but these, instead of being congruent, these are always supplementary. So remember, we can turn an S into an 8. So supplementary means they equal 180 when we add them together. So if I'm looking at those, angle 3 and angle 6 equals 180 degrees. And then angle 4 and angle 5, same deal. Angle 4 plus angle 5 equal 180 degrees. Okay, so let's practice just a little bit before we move on. Practice classifying. So we're going to look at angle 1 and angle 5. So angle 1 is here, this entire angle. Angle 5 is there. So angle 1 and angle 5 would be alternate. And I'm going to use abbreviations. You guys know I always do. Exterior. Alternate exterior angles. If I'm looking at angle 6 and angle 8, so that would be angle 6 and angle 8. Those are in the same place along the transversal, so those are corresponding angles. Okay, so those will be congruent. These guys are congruent, these guys are congruent. All right, angle 2 and angle 3. 2, angle 3. So these are on the same side of the transversal, so that means they're consecutive. And they're on the inside of the transversal, so that means they're interior. So we would say consecutive interior angles there. Those are not congruent. Remember, those are supplementary. Okay, numbers 4 through 8, the answer key is posted on Schoology, so this would be extra practice for you. So I'll write that here, number 4 through 8. See if at your table you guys can figure out those, and then check your answers on Schoology. All right, let's move on just a little bit more with this lesson. For page 4, again, answer key is on Schoology. This is something that you should try to do with your table mates after you guys are done watching the video for today. You know you're always welcome to any of the markers or colored pencils that are behind my desk, so help yourself. Just please, please, please organize them and put them back, so when I come back I don't have a mess. But let's do one of these together, and then this would be something that you could do with your table group or on your own if you would prefer to work alone today. This first one says, any corresponding angles we would label pink. So let's look and see what this first one is. Angle 2 and angle 13. So angle 2 and angle 13 are definitely not corresponding. Corresponding angles would be 13 and 5. So same place along the transversal. These are not. So corresponding angle, not going to be pink. These instead are 2, 13, alternate interior. So alternate interior angles. We're supposed to shade that box in light blue. So I'm going to shade this one in light blue. Let's look at the next one. Angle 4 and angle 11. So 4 and 11 here. These are inside and consecutive. They're not on alternate sides. They're on the same side and inside. So consecutive interior angles, we're supposed to color in that box light green. So that's what you would do. I don't have a light green, but green is fine. Okay, so see if you can finish that page. It shouldn't take you very long. The whole purpose of this is for you to just get really comfortable with all of these new terms that we're learning in Unit 3. If there is no relationship, that would be uncolored. So you wouldn't color that in at all. You would just leave that one blank. Okay, so let's do a couple of the practice problems together after we do some of these. I'll pause for a minute so you can try the other two. So let's look at number 1. They are telling me that P is parallel to Q. So if P is parallel to Q, I know that all those special angles that I learned about on the first page exist. So if the measure of angle 1 is 68 degrees, we would go label that. Remember, label, label, label. And if we know one angle measure, we can 100% find every other angle on here because of that one. So first of all, I'm going to mark the ones that I know are congruent to this. So I'm going to fill out the whole thing and then worry about filling these in. So 1 and 4 are vertical. We know vertical angles are always congruent. 4 and 5 are alternate interior angles that we just learned about, so always congruent. 5 and 8, vertical, so congruent. So now we can start thinking about how could I figure out all the rest of these angles? Well, I know angle 1 and 2 make a linear pair, so they must add up to 180. So you would do 180 minus 68 to figure out how much would that be there. So I'll give you a second to think about that and fill it in on yours. Alright, cool. So you should have gotten 112 degrees, which means vertical, alternate interior, and vertical. And we're done. So the measure of angle 2, 112. Measure of angle 3, 112. 4, 68. 5, 68. 6, 112. 7, 112. And 8, 68. So if they give us one angle, we are able to figure out all the rest of the angles, which is pretty cool when you know these angle relationships. All right. Let's also do number 3 together, and I'll leave 2 as practice, and 4 can be your challenge for yourself. Answer key's online, so challenge yourself and then see how you do with the answer key. All right, number 3. C and D are parallel. Remember, I could have these little arrows on here that show that they're parallel as well, and that's what that would mean. The measure of angle 1 is 97 degrees. So we could do the exact same thing we did in the last one. We could do vertical, or this time I could think differently. Angle 1 and angle 7 are corresponding angles, and those are always congruent, which means now these vertical angles are congruent. 5 is corresponding to 3, and we still ended up getting the same thing all the way around. So, how would we figure out the rest of them? Same deal. Consecutive interior or supplementary, so 3 and 4 have to equal 180. Or we could think about it in the sense of these two are a linear pair, so they have to equal 180. There's multiple ways to think about it and how it would be. So I know this would have to be 83, 83, and so forth. The rest of the angles would be 83 degrees. And we could fill out our little chart here. 2, 83, 4, I don't know where 4 is, there it is, 83, 6, 83, 3, 97, 97, 97, and 83. There you go. Okay. So what if we have to pull algebra into something to figure out how we're going to solve? We have to use these angle relationships that we know to solve algebraic problems sometimes. It's not as bad as it seems. If I look at number 1, this and this, the angles in which they gave me information are corresponding angles. And corresponding angles are always congruent. Meaning, I can set these equal to each other to solve. Plus 2, plus 2, 5x equals 60. We would divide x equals 12. And we're done with that one. So let's try a couple more of these. Number 3. This angle and this angle, the angles in which they gave me information, are alternate interior angles. Those are always congruent. Same deal. 7x minus 1 equals 125 degrees. Plus 1, 7x equals 126. What would that be? I'll give you a second to think about it. What would we do next? X would equal 18. Awesome. So let's look at one that would not be congruent on this page. So here is alternate exterior. So those are congruent. So you could solve those. Here we have same side, so consecutive interior. These are not congruent. These are supplementary. So we need to set them equal to 180. So 9x plus 2 plus 133 equals 180. 9x plus, I'm just putting my like terms together here, 135 equals 180. 9x would then equal 45, because we would subtract 135 to both sides. And x, excuse me, would equal 5. Okay, down here, alternate exterior, so congruent, so you set those up equal to each other to solve. This one and this one are the same, just at different places on the transversal, so these are corresponding. So they are congruent, so set them up equal to solve. Down here, this angle and this angle are alternate interior, so again, congruent. Set them up equal to solve. Here, these are not on alternate sides. They are not consecutive, but since this angle would be consecutive with this angle right here, I know that the two of these would form a linear pair, making them equal to 180. We combine our like terms. 14x, negative 33 plus 3 would take us up to negative 30 equals 180. Add 30 to both sides. And then 210 divided by 14 here would give us 15. All right. Number 9 is your challenge for me. Check your answer key. Make sure you do the ones on here that we did not do together with your table group today or on your own. And then this is your challenge to see if you can get it. Alright, you have a maze on the next page. That is for you to do for practice. Same deal. Oh, I can't spell. Practice. This will help you identify all the new angles we're learning today. See if you can make it to the finish line. And then check your answer. And then the last thing that we have to look at together is this organizational chart. That'll be a great handy tool for you to use when you're studying for a quiz or a text. So I've filled in the blanks for us already. I'm going to talk through it real quick so that you can be done with this video and start working. Corresponding angles. Remember, one angle is on the interior, the other is on the exterior, and they are on the same side of the transversal. So if we need to name all of the corresponding angles here, angle 1 and angle 5, angle 3 and angle 7, angle 2 and 6, and angle 4 and 8. I'll give you a second if you're copying that down. Alright, the next one, alternate interior angles. Angles that are between the two parallel lines, but on the opposite sides of the transversal. So angle 3 and angle 6. And then there's one more pair of alternate interior, and that would be angle 4 and angle 5. Also congruent. Always congruent. If the lines are parallel. It's very important that you know the lines are parallel to be able to say that they're congruent. Alright, alternate exterior angles. These are on the outside of the parallel line, so outside, down here and up here, and opposite sides of the transversal. So angle 1 and angle 6 is one example. 8 is one example. And then angle 2 and angle 7 would be your other example of alternate exteriors. Okay, consecutive interior angles. So we have here also known as same side interior angles. Between the two parallel lines, so think only in here, and on the same side of the transversal. So 3 and 5, and then 4 and 6. These are not congruent. These are supplementary if the lines are parallel. We know that, so we know that we can say that these would add up to 180. And remember, when you forget what supplementary means, we can turn an S into an 8, 180 degrees. The two angles add up to 180. Alright guys, we've done our notes for today together. I'm so glad I actually got to make this video.